At this point, I'm sure most of you are familiar with the steep incline of the housing market in Canada in the last few years. But for many of us in the Millennial or Gen Z group, the impact of these changes means that we're splitting rent with roommates or still living at home, long after we expected to own our own place. Now, many are putting off other milestones like getting married or starting a family, in part due to this trend. But the current sentiment is that we need to embrace this reality, adjust our expectations, and accept the fact that many of us will simply never own a home. Now, welcome to My Generation, the show where we engage in political, economical, and moral issues from the perspective of those of us in our 20s and 30s. Today, we're joined by Josh, Karolina, and Anthony. We're going to be discussing the housing situation, or crisis, in Canada, and what it means for those of us looking to enter the market. So guys, I have a hot take question for all of you. Originally, my question is, is homeownership still even a realistic goal?
I mean,
what do we think?
Yes, but not for many.
Is it a Millennial or Gen Z goal?
Yes.
Still?
Yes.
It should be.
Yeah.
Why should it be, though? Who cares if it gets pushed out a little bit more? Maybe I live at home a little longer.
Well, there's nothing wrong with that, but you said goal, right? Like, goal just means that it's something that you still want to achieve, right? There is the other sentiment that there are a lot of people that are saying it's never going to happen, but I generally think that it should always be a goal, absolutely.
Why do you say it has to be a goal? Is it that we associate it with some sort of benchmark of success?
It's your savings account.
There.
House is your savings account. It's your savings account for retirement. Real estate appreciates in value, and that should be a goal on everybody's radar in the country.
Interesting. We'll touch on it a little bit more. So renting is currently the reality for most of us in this age group. Now, since many of us are just entering the housing market. In fact, according to a StatCan 2021 census, guys, get this, the growth of renter households increased by 21.5% compared to the growth in owner households at just 8.4%. Does everybody understand that?
Yeah.
Now, I find this really interesting. So to kick things off, I wanted to look at the average monthly cost of renting in various cities across Canada and compare that to the average income. So Nova Scotia is around $2,000. Alberta is just over $1,500. Ontario is almost $2,450, and BC is $2,600. National average, $2,000 a month. And that is across the board, whether it be a 1-bedroom, 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom. It's just a blanket statement. How do we feel about that? Is that too high, or is that just the average?
That's very high. That's very high to rent. Yeah. Before, renting was a stepping stone, I think, to getting into your first home or your second home or whatever you want to call it. Now it's renting, I think, is seen more as a barrier, because it is a barrier. Big urban centers are more expensive than they've ever been. And
is it always a barrier, though? Because maybe I rent as a strategy to save money if I make enough income on top of what I pay for rent.
From what I'm hearing out in the real world, people that want to buy a home, they are renting, and that used to be a stepping stone, and that's their only choice to get out of their parents' house and to live on their own or with a roommate.
Yeah, a lot of people that I know are just like living in their parents' basement house, saving money, because renting is not an option for them, especially if you want to live alone. That's just not going to happen.
Can you save while renting? Yeah, I don't think the average person could.
If you look at the average income, it's very, very tough. But if you're looking at some people who are, higher earners, then yeah, you obviously can. But again, that also comes with adjusting your lifestyle too, right? Some of these people who are making that $150,000 a year, are they living off of, 50 to 70? That's the real question.
You made an interesting comment, lifestyle, because it does change our lifestyle. Maybe do we have to live a little less, or do we have to live more frugal? I guess I could say that
I think
better.
there's a fine balance in that. I honestly don't think that our go-to advice should be like, well, you should just be frugal, because our mental health is also as important. I'm not going to be stressed out about every single moment, whether I should spend more money on something that I'm going to enjoy today or saving for a house that's probably not even going to make a dent in the things that I'm saving for.
Right.
What's the meme on the internet where it says you're going to spend $12,000 in 1 year on coffee, and that's not enough for a house, so just go buy the coffee and live your life? I think that's words to live by. But I don't think anybody should be telling people how to live their life. That's all up to you. But obviously, people do make financial decisions that do affect future investment. And I don't think there's anybody on the panel or watching the show that is going to say that they haven't made a bad financial investment that maybe has interfered with them achieving that goal of home ownership or buying anything.
And we'll get into you could say whose fault, or I think people do have a role to play in, hey, maybe you got to spend a little less. Sometimes the market gets tough. Right?
Let's just put it this way. If before university degree was enough to set you for life, it's not enough anymore, and you're going to have to work a lot harder for that.
That is very true. Let's leave it off there. Now, guys, when we come back, we'll look at how other Canadians feel about homeownership and the current reality of the housing market. I'm excited to talk about it.